everyone, welcome to None Such Farms. Today we're gonna make some sauerkraut. Sauerkraut is an acquired flavor, taste. A lot of people don't like it. I love it in like sandwiches, on burgers, even just to eat it plain. And sometimes I'll season my sauerkraut with like caraway seeds, garlic. You can use your imagination, add whatever you want. You can add onions to it, you can add cucumbers to it. Now sauerkraut is a fermented cabbage. Okay, I had to go outside again. All right, so we are doing sauerkraut, and like I said, it's a fermented vegetable. Sauerkraut is, and a lot of people will make a brine with water and salt to fill their jars when they put their kraut in, but you don't need to do that. All you need is salt, non-iodized, I use canning salt, and cabbage. You just have to massage it. So I'm gonna get started and start chopping up cabbage. Now these are little cabbages. I'm gonna turn you down a little bit. You're not gonna be able to see my face, but you're gonna see what I'm doing. So these cabbages are pretty small. This one was a pound, but I cleaned it up, so it's probably a little less now. By the time I cut the core off, it's probably gonna be like maybe 3/4 of a pound. This one will probably be a little under a pound, and this one will probably be about 3/4 of a pound. So you use about 1.5 to 2 teaspoons of salt per pound of cabbage. And I'm gonna start cutting this up. A lot of people will use a shredder, a mandolin. I made sauerkraut a couple weeks ago. I used a mandolin, and then what didn't go through the mandolin, I chopped up, and the pieces were so small that they had floated to the top, and it was hard to clean them out because you don't want any floaters in your sauerkraut because they will get mold on them from being exposed to the air. So I did lose 1 quart to mold. The other one was iffy. I put it in the fridge. Typically, I let my sauerkraut ferment for about 3 months because I like that tanginess of it. Most people only do it for like 7 days to a month. Anyways, I put that kraut in the fridge, and I'm just not happy with the flavor. I did have to pick some things off from it, and I was questioning whether it was mold or if it was just the, it'll have like a coating on top. So I wasn't sure. And I think I'm going to throw that batch because I just don't like the taste. It has a weird taste. It doesn't taste like mold, but it just has a different taste to it. So I'm going to start chopping these up and show you how to do that. I put some gloves on because when I was emptying the dishwasher today, I sliced my thumb pretty bad, and I do not want to get any salt or sauerkraut in that. So I just figured I'm going to wear gloves. So when you first start this, you want to like peel off any bad leaves off from your cabbage. I already did that. I do have a little spot right here, and I'm just going to cut those pieces off. I don't want to take off the whole leaf for that. But you do need to take off a couple leaves to reserve. I actually will take off that leaf and I'll use part of it because this is what you're going to cover your sauerkraut with once you get it all packed in your jar. This will hold down any floaters. So I'm just going to take a few off, and I won't use all of this, but I just want to make sure that I have enough. And I have a feeling I might need 2 jars for this because I don't want to overfill them. So I sharpened my knife. You can tell, huh? Oh, goodness. I sharpened my knife because cabbage can be pretty hard to cut. I want to take that piece off right there. So some people will ferment the core too. I don't. I don't like the chewiness of it. It's hard. So I just cut that core right off. And I do like my sauerkraut pretty thin, so I'm going to do the best I can to make this thin, but without having little tiny pieces. That's why I like using the mandolin. So this is probably going to take me a while to do because I'm really concentrating on making their thin little pieces. And it doesn't bother me if they're long pieces, just as long as they're thin. So when I get close to the end, so I get all that, I'm just gonna put that right in the bowl. So when I get close to the end like this, get up in there. It's acting a little wonky. I'm gonna spin it over like this. So I have better control, less chance of cutting myself. So those are pretty big pieces. And the thing with big pieces, they do take longer to ferment because you want them to get that good flavor all through it. But, you know, it will ferment. And like I said, I like mine to go for months. I was making Reubens the other day, and I went to look down in my pantry, in my refrigerator where I keep like my goods, my like sauerkrauts, and because I don't want to put like 4 jars of sauerkraut up here. I didn't have any. I had to buy sauerkraut. I was so disappointed. And if I can get 2 jars out of this, I might flavor one. I know my brother loves my flavored sauerkraut. I gave him a half gallon of it one time, and I thought for sure he'd have that for about a year. Nope. I think he probably had it like for just a couple months, and he brought the jar back empty. I couldn't believe it. That's how much he loves it. So I'm just going to keep chopping all of this until I get it all chopped up, and then I'll be back to tell you what the next step is. Okay, so I'm back, and I've got my salt. I have my cabbage all shredded, okay? It's a big bowl, but when we're done with this, it's not going to be this big. So I'm just going to grab a regular teaspoon. And where I figured this is about 3 pounds, so I'm going to put 4.5 teaspoons in. Now, you don't want to go crazy with the salt, but you also don't want to go under, because then you won't get that fermenting process. So what I'm doing, I'm going to kind of layer this in here. Oops, it's not layering very well. My friend gave me a case of canning salt, and it was the box canning salt, but it was old and hard. So I had to pound it with a hammer, break it up, and put it in my food processor to get it so where I could work with it. It was so hard. So it turned it into like a powder almost. So I had to go back and look to see how much I put in there. So there is 5 in here, and that's okay, because you can go between 1.5 and 2 per pound, not knowing exactly how many pounds I have. It's close to 3. So I'm happy with what I have in here. So we have 5 teaspoons of salt, and I'm guessing we had almost 3 pounds of cabbage. So what I'm going to do now is, now that I've got that salt in there, I'm going to let that set, because it's going to draw out moisture out of the cabbage. So I'm going to let that set for probably about 10 minutes, and then we'll be back. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes, and here comes the fun part. And I'm not really tall enough for this. It kind of stinks. But what you're going to do, so you can see the moisture, and it's actually, it feels like soggy now, and that's from the salt. So what you do is you just squeeze and massage, and this can take a little while. This can take a little while, maybe about, I don't know, 10 minutes. But you're going to produce enough moisture in this where you don't need to add water to you don't need to make a water brine. You should be able to get enough moisture out of your cabbage from the salt. See, now these big pieces, I'm gonna get rid of these. Oh, this one I might be able to break up into this. I just don't want those huge fat pieces. But yeah, if you just keep doing this, and it's gonna break it down, and make, it's probably gonna reduce this to half. I'm going to get a stool. Yeah, because I can really put my weight into it. It was hard to get my weight into it standing the way I was with it being so high. Whoops. I know this looks silly, but it works. Easier on my back too, but I'm getting it a lot better. So I want to do this until I get enough moisture in the bottom, enough of the juices in the bottom, that when I pack this cabbage in the jars, it's going to fill, because you want the cabbage below the level of the water. And I have actually, so sauerkraut does a funny thing for me. I'll put it in the jars and I'll let it set. And I always put a saucer underneath it, because it will like overflow. Even though I didn't have that much juice in it, it will like build more juice up and it will overflow. And then it will like shrink down, so I don't have enough in it. So you really have to keep an eye on it. And this all happens within like the first week. So that first week, you really want to keep an eye on it every day. And what I do is, if I see that the level of the juices or the water is going down, I'll add just plain water, straight water right from the tap. A lot of people will add brine, but it's not going to change your fermenting process, because you're not adding a lot. You're just adding a little bit. Now, the only time that I make a brine for my fermentations is if I'm doing, say, peppers. I'll do red peppers, and I will make a saltwater brine for that, because you can't mush them up and make this brine. At least I don't think you can. I've never done that. And if you've ever had pickled red peppers, that's basically what it is. I have fermented carrots with a brine. I have fermented radish, which I will never do that again. I have fermented turnip. I will never do that again. That was disgusting, both of them. They tasted horrible. But, you know, some people really like it. This, you want a wide mouth jar. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple different ways that you can pack these. Okay. And you want to pack this in there really tight. Geez, you know, I might have enough for 3. Wow, that'll be great. I know I do want to mix some caraway in there. So I do want to give myself some room in here. I think that's about all I want to do. Let's see if we can get some of the juices poured in there. I'm going to have enough for 3 jars. That's exciting. Okay, so now what I want to do, you want to make sure, let me turn this down a little bit. You want to make sure that you don't have any cabbage on the walls above where the cabbage is. And I think I'm going to need a little bit more water in there. I may not have enough juice in here. I hope I do. I could actually go a little higher with that. So then you want to take a weight. I think this is actually like something that goes in a vase that you put flowers in, because it has holes. But then I have these that are actual weights for fermenting. So you want to, oh wait, whoops, we almost forgot. We have to cover the cabbage. So we put this in here because it'll hold down all the pieces, but you also want this under the water too. So you may have to rip and tear. So that looks pretty good. that's under the water. And it takes a little bit of maneuvering. Piece isn't, so I'm tucking. Okay, then I'm gonna take my weight and place that on the top. And as you can see, if you look all around it, I don't know if you can see that or not, all the cabbage is underneath that water. I do feel a little nervous though, because I just feel like that needs more. But if I have to top that off with a little bit of water, I'm okay with that. Now I could cover this. So your fermentation has to be able to release gases, because it's producing gases in there. So it has to be able to release those gases. You can put a lid on this and just every day burp it, or you could put a coffee filter with a ring over it, and that will release the gases. Will come out of that with the through the coffee filter, so you don't have to burp it then. Or I have these fermenting. These are water lock seals. So what you do with these, and I have a different type of fermenting seal that I like. It's a black one with orange, and I don't know where mine are. So you don't have to do anything like put water in this or anything. I think they're still at my old house. But what you do with this is you put water in this. It's a water locking seal. And this will kind of bubble. If air needs to escape, if gas needs to escape, it can come up through this. So you always want to make sure that that water in there is clear. What you put in there is just tap water, and I'll show you. I have my water in here, and I'm just going to put this cap on. And then you just screw it on. And your gases are going to release through this. Sometimes though, and I found this happened with me last time that I made sauerkraut, or the time before, I went and looked and this was all like foggy, the water in here. And that means that it kind of regurgitated. So my juices built up inside and went into this. You don't want that. You want to get that out of there and put clean water in it. So this I will just set aside, and I will put it on a plate, and I'll watch it. I'll watch this for the first week or so, and then I'll feel pretty confident that it'll be all right. But I just want to make sure that the water line is always above my cabbage. I don't want any cabbage exposed. Once that cabbage gets exposed to air, it's going to get molded, and you can't have that. So that's that one. Caraway, yep. I've got caraway seed right here. So I'm just gonna, I don't measure. I measure with my heart. So that's about 3 teaspoons. And let's see, what else can we put in there? Let's put some celery seed. Celery seed will be really good in here. It's all hot from the, that's about 3 teaspoons, maybe 2 teaspoons. That's all hot from my cooking my syrup over here. So I think that's all I'm putting in that. That's a good blend. Ooh, and it smells good. Maybe some thyme. Ooh, that would be good. But no, we're gonna stick with this. We are just gonna stick with this. Okay, let's pack this baby. I don't know if you can see this. I'm gonna bring you a little closer. Can you see the caraway seeds in there and the celery seeds? Now, if you guys don't have one of those weights, I have used jiggers, shot glasses, and I just make sure that I have enough room for the shot glass for a lid to come on. And this is one that you have to burp because you have to be able to push that shot glass down. Some people put spicy peppers in theirs. I'm not a fan of spice. I mean, I like wings and stuff, but ooh, spice doesn't like me. The top, that's really full. I'm a little nervous about that. I hope it doesn't go bad. So I'm definitely going to watch this one really close. And I have one more locking system in here. So like I said, this lid is airtight. No fruit flies, nothing's going to get in there. But the air can come out through here. So that is it. Give it a try, guys, if you like sauerkraut. It's kind of fun. It's kind of a fun process to watch it. And you'll make mistakes. I've made a million mistakes. I've made a lot of sauerkraut. And I would say that I've probably lost 6 batches out of 20. It stinks, but that's what happens. And it's probably all my fault. I don't know. I need to keep a better eye on it. And I feel like I do the same process every single time. So I don't know how it's my fault, but it could be. But yeah, so that is how to make sauerkraut and flavored sauerkraut. So thanks for joining me today, guys. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and share my videos and my channel if you could. I would really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.